Stiles have 2 new caps, is that right?
Yeah, George Smith, a new cap in the starting side, and then potentially I think 3 on the bench.
Adam's what's his
Yeah, he's played. I think he's got 3 caps now, but they were all off the bench, so it's his first starting game for Queensland, which he's incredibly proud of.
What's he bring to the side, and what it seems like a bolter to some of us?
Yeah, he's a bolter maybe to a few people, but one of the things I was really adamant about through the pre-season when we got to this point in time in selecting a side, that we didn't just pick a team on names and reputations, that we spoke about earning respect amongst each other through our actions on the field, and to get to this point and pick a side that you've included guys like Adam Korchik who has done that from day one, it's great. I'm really happy that we've been able to select him because he has earned the honour.
On balance, he's been better than, I guess, Tui, who was the Olympic medalist last year.
Hendrick was up in the midst of winning the medal. Definitely, he started the year like a house on fire. We just felt a really good balance to have Adam, George Smith and Higgers, that they really complemented each other. You play South Africans that so big and physical, and to have a blindside breakaway who's a little bit like another number 7 in his work that he does in the contact area was going to be a point of difference for us.
Young kid named George Smith making the streets to do.
Yeah, young kid. I think last time he was a young kid, he had dreadlocks halfway down his back, and those days are long gone. Yeah, no, I think just fantastic to have George involved in this team. The influence that he's had on the group in 3 weeks has been amazing, and now he was desperate to play the trial game, and he's even hungrier now to play his first game for the Reds.
You have to manage him, or is he just picking every game?
He's a freak. His desire to be out there is something that I suppose even at his age sets him apart from a lot of people. His commitment to professionalism at his age now is probably why he's still playing, and it's why whatever team he plays for, they become successful, and it's rubbing off in this group already.
Kurudrani's trial form that got him in ahead of Breezy?
Yeah, he's another one. Isaiah is exceptionally talented footballer. You don't get selected on a Wallabies tour just by luck. But once again, a bit like Adam, we really felt that just through the consistency that Chris Kurudrani's been doing in training and how he played, in particular in the 10s, but in particular in that second half against the Rebels, he deserved it. He earned the right to be in the starting side, and that puts pressure on people to be playing their best football.
How much more lethal is him and Esso being out there in a team that looks like it should be working properly as opposed to the last couple of years?
It's rugby teams these days are very eclectic mix of nationalities, of backgrounds, of personalities. And one of the things I reckon we've done really well over the last 6 months is create an environment that allows players to come out and perform at their best. And both the wingers in Eto Nabuli and Chris Kurudrani are really good examples of that. Last 12 months was pretty tough times for them. They were pretty quiet, they were shy, they didn't feel comfortable in the environment they were in. And now just to see them flourish to the point where Eto's talking non-stop. I've got no idea what he's saying, but I'm just pleased he's talking, and he's become a real personality within the group, and it's incredible that he's the same bloke from 12 months ago. So we're happy, really happy with how they're going to go.
Andrew Redding's in a remarkable position to get a breakout season and suddenly stuck behind the Wallabies skipper. Is there a plan to use them?
Yeah, everyone asks you a lot of time, what's the spine of a rugby union side? You hear that a lot in rugby league, don't you, about the spine of the side? Well, for me, an important part of the spine of a successful rugby side is the hooker. And to have 2 players with the calibre of Stephen and Andrew is a fantastic position to be in, that we can play 80 minutes with a very good footballer throughout the whole 80. I was really happy with Andrew's performance when he came off the bench against the Rebels. He lifted the intensity, and that's what you want from your bench, isn't it? We probably haven't had the depth in the squad to have a lot of impact off the bench previously, but just to see, last weekend, Kuridranis and Reddies, Sefangasi come off the bench and lift the team is what we need, because a lot of the times the games are won and lost at the end, not at the start.
You've got an interesting situation without Tom and Thor on the bench. Like you've got a rookie prop on the bench who's seen no time at all with Vanzatti. Is that a bit of a vulnerable situation going against the big South African side, or do you like what Marcus provides?
It is. Marcus, it's funny, we talk about our Fijians playing on the wings. Well, Marcus is Swedish. He grew up in South Australia. He was a guy that obviously didn't have a build to be an Aussie rules player, so he sought out rugby union and actually reached out to Toowoomba Grammar himself and asked if he could go and join them because he wanted to continue with his rugby, and he flew across the country and got his own way to the school. There was no fuss about him, and he just did his job. And when he joined our group, 2 years ago now, extremely raw. You look at him physically and he's a beautiful size. And he's been through some of the darkest moments physically that I've seen anyone go through in the last 2 years. And to see him getting a chance in the first game for all that hard work and effort is rewarding. The luxury he's got being here is that we've got really competitive front rowers. The scrum training we do each week is as competitive as you get in Super Rugby. So, we've been pretty lucky when we've brought in new props over the last couple of years. They've been ready to go.
So he's an Adelaide bloke who's basically just taken it upon himself to get into rugby.
Incredible. It's just an amazing story. He's a very smart person. He's very reserved, but the physicality in him is he only knows one way. Whenever we do training and it's meant to be non-contact, there's always one clown that comes running out and bashes someone, and it's Marcus. And that then rubs off on the rest of the group, and a non-contact session goes quickly from a low level into full contact because on the back of what he's done. So I'm really happy for him.
And with heritage from a rugby powerhouse such as Sweden, then
Swedish, the meatballs, and his parents actually are in the cafe industry over in South Australia, and they've got a few Swedish cafes and whatnot. So he's a good person to sit down and just have a chat to about life.
There's no room for Maranta. Is that a case of the cattle in front of him, or he's just not ready?
No, a little bit of both, I suppose. You're picking from a group that is very fit at the moment. We've got very limited injuries, and the Fijians earned their right to start this weekend. I'm really conscious with Lockie that we give him the time to really adapt to rugby and play some rugby before we put him in a position of playing Super Rugby. I don't believe in pushing guys out, whether they're young or inexperienced in the code, to fail. It's not right as a coach, and Lockie probably slots into that situation a little bit as well.
So he'll go back to Premier Rugby?
Yeah, we'll push a few guys out to Club Rugby this weekend, which is it shows, I think, a new appetite within the whole Queensland Rugby Union to really embrace grassroots rugby, and I think we've got about 7 guys approximately will go back and play a little bit of trial games for their clubs this weekend, and with brothers getting Luke Antui and Taniela to play for them in a really good event with the club championship is a great thing for brothers and for the QRU.
So Taniela is playing? He's starting?
You have to ask the brothers coach. Yeah.
So if Luke Hartman is clear to play the full 80 minutes in the...
No, we've got listen, it's a difficult situation that we want them to play rugby, but we've got a short turnaround to a Thursday game, and it's in Perth as well. So balancing up, the requirements of us pushing the guys out to play club rugby, and then being fit to train on Sunday and the long haul over to Perth is just a balancing act.
Nick, last time you played the Sharks was 2015. Just how astronomical has the change been at the Reds since that game?
2 years, gee whiz. 2 weeks is a long time in rugby. Listen, we've moved on from the past. It's been documented enough, the trials and tribulations that the whole organisation's been through. I just like where we're at the moment. The work attitude, the attitude of the players has been outstanding. There's a much different feel through the whole organisation, from the chairman and Damien Frawley to Richard Barker as the CEO and myself, where we're all aligned with where we believe Queensland Rugby Union and the Reds should be. So it's all steam ahead for us.
I guess it's fair to say the last couple of seasons we've had this press conference a couple of times before the beginning of the first game. Everyone's talking with high hopes. Like, if you to distill one or two things that makes you feel this year can be different to 3 wins or 4 wins, what would it be?
Yeah, it's I think every team gets to this press conference and talks with a lot of hope and a lot of excitement, and that's good. But the reality is, I think we've already displayed some character attributes that weren't there over the last couple of years. Our desire as a team to work and defend through the tens, which I know it's a short format of the game, but through the tens, and then how hard we played in defence against the Rebels was just a really good indicator of where the group's at, especially around the character and heart of the side. Now it gets stepped up in Super Rugby, it goes up another notch, and I'm as excited as anyone just to see where we're at as a group.
The Sharks have got a reputation as being one of the, if not the best team for springing upsets offshore from the South African team. What do you expect from them, and how wary does everyone have to be about that?
Yes, the Sharks are obviously a dangerous game, isn't it? First round in particular. A little bit hard to get a true judge on where they're at as well. They've had a lot of change as an organisation, just like the QRU. They've got a new coaching staff that have come up through the Curry Cup. They had a lot of experience move on and head overseas, so they're a fresh and new playing group that they've put together. So just to see where they're exactly at, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. He was good for him to get the all clear from the ARU to resume training, and that coincided with the game against the Rebels. So from his point of view, I'm sure that was a great thing just to get out of the road. Moving forward, he's had real clarity about his on-field rugby stuff, and he's got clarity around the process that's ongoing. So he seems very balanced. It's funny, they don't watch a lot of TV or read a lot of media, unfortunately, for all of you here, but they're fine. It's not an issue for them.
I think Marcus will read the story on the Swede from Adelaide.
Yeah.
My parents in the cafe industry too.
Oh, there you go. You're not Swedish, but so.
He must be from Sweden if he thinks he's ever.
Well, his nickname's Swede. So.
First day at school, George. You guys right? Yep.
No. 3 weeks was the first day at school last time I was here. So, look, I've really enjoyed the past few weeks here with the Reds. I've had some really good training with Brad Thorne, with Dave, our trainer in the gym. Been watching training during that tens period, and also had the chance to run around with the guys in the past couple of weeks. So. I feel I'm ready to play for the Reds and perform well, and I'm sure everyone in the team is very excited about the game on Friday night.
After everything you've achieved, what keeps you motivated at this stage in your career?
Oh, look, I've had some really good personal achievements and won some titles in different teams, but I've parked those, and what I want to achieve is success with the Reds. We want to perform well for ourselves, but also for the Queensland state, and play well. For me, it's not about getting awards or whatnot at the end of the year. It's about performing well for your team and putting the best performance out there you possibly can, and all those things take care of themselves. Well, I hope they don't expect the George Smith the bold. I've developed into a different player than what I was in my past years, so I feel I'm a more complete player these days. I may not be as fast as I was when I was 19 years old, but I think I'm a lot smarter in the way I play the game, and and yeah, I read the game a lot better than I used to. So I'd rather be the player I am now than I was a few years back.
Adam Korchik is sort of in the bolter, I guess, for us in this squad. What have you seen?
Sorry. Starting again, sorry.
Adam Korchik,
Yep.
the youngster. What have you seen from him in the last few weeks? Obviously, he's done plenty to earn a start first up.
Yeah, exactly. He's done all the work that was needed of him or required of him to push himself into selection process and also get selected. So that's fantastic for him and for the way that he's performed as a player over the pre-season and so on. I've really enjoyed working alongside him the last few weeks. Seeing how he moves around the field. I think a big thing for me when I'm on the field with a new combination is the micro communication that you have in your gameplay, knowing your role, and I think we've had that continuous chat when we are out there on the training fields, because you want to be really comfortable with the players who obviously knew around that area, and that's the case in this week's game as well.
George, what have you seen at the tens and the trial that makes you excited to get out there with this group of players?
Oh, look, I see that the Reds are extremely fit and they're physically they're looking quite good. What I've seen in the tens, but more importantly, what I've seen in training, is the amount of talent that's within this squad. I see certain attributes of different players that I quite like. The individual skills that they bring to the team. The fancy footwork, the nice passes, the ability to see things that other people don't see, and I like that there's no inhibition in the players, but at the same time there is a role that each player plays within the team to the game plan, but I do like that there isn't too much inhibition in the way the boys play.
No trial minutes for you and no tens, but you said previously that's the way you kind of like it to just roll into footy. Do you feel like you're up to play 80 on Fridays?
I would have liked to play the trial, but look, I understand. I've played a lot of games in this year so far, and also in the previous season. So I understand that there's maybe concern from other people about playing 80 minutes, but that's for people who haven't actually seen me play in the last few weeks. The pace at which you play in Japan is extremely high, and to continue playing at that level and at that speed and for 80 minutes continuously in the games, I guess if you look at those games, and that those questions wouldn't arise. But I understand that people who haven't seen Japanese rugby don't understand the way I've played in the last few weeks, I guess.
So what kind of adjustment have you had to make from Japanese rugby into leading into Super Rugby season?
I guess the obvious one is the physicality. They're bigger boys in this competition, and just in training, you're tackling bigger guys who are regularly over 100 kilos, and whether we're in Japan, they're regularly around the 90 kilo, 80 kilo mark. So the physicality is definitely one, the big thing there. The unpredictability of some of the players that you train against. I guess getting used to that. But in every season I've played, you sort of you become familiar with things, and you always revert back to what you're really good at, and that's trusting your instincts.
And is the Sharks a trial by fire in that respect? Adjusting the physicality?
Yeah, I think each game within this Super Rugby competition for me is what I'm going to have to adjust. The physicality. I guess the first two games I'll get used to it, and it will just become the norm. But when you haven't played against bigger guys in a while, that's probably the biggest difference. But I don't see it being a problem for myself.
Hey.